This lesson is for day 13. We're going to be working with system model problems. So this particular problem, we're going to go through just one example, and then tomorrow you'll do something very similar to this as well as some bookwork problems. But it's a system of equations, and we're going to find the intersection of the two lines that represent the cost, in this case, of the cost for a Mustang or a Rambler. Okay. So this person has decided to buy a car from a local car company. So after shopping for several days, she chooses to test drive a 1962 Rambler and a 1976 Mustang. The price of the Rambler is $1,250 and the cost of the Mustang is $2,960. She likes both cars, so she decides to ask her mechanic about problems she might face with the maintenance of the automobile she chooses. The mechanic tells her that the Rambler, since it's a little bit older, is going to cost an average of $150 per month in expenses, that includes gas, but the Mustang would only be at $60 per month in expenses because it's slightly newer. Now, let's talk about the cost, the total equation for the cost of the Rambler in T months. So they've already told us what variables we're going to use. So the time, or I'm sorry, this is time in months. Okay. And we are finding the cost of the Rambler, so R of T is the cost of the Rambler. So let's define always, I can't spell today, let's always define our variables first. Okay, now the starting cost, the starting amount for the Rambler is $1,250. So you start at $1,250, but you pay an additional $150 per month. So we're going to say $150 per month. Let's do that as, T, because we have time in months, plus the original $1,250 that it costs to purchase the car. So this equation represents the cost of the Rambler. And again, just to reiterate, we have $150 per 1 month. That's what T represents, the time in months, and your initial cost for the car. Now, I would like you to find the Mustang's total equation cost on your own. So fill out part B, please. Go ahead and pause the video and fill out part B. Okay, now this is the equation that you should have for the cost of the Mustang. And in part C here, where it says to find R of 25 and M of 25, this is function notation. Remember, it's just telling you that T equals 25. So let's plug in and find R of 25 and M of 25. We're just going to substitute in 25, so 150 times 25 plus 1250, and 60 times 25 plus 2,960. Okay, so we found our totals for both R of 25 and M of 25. Now, to interpret this, we look and we say, okay, that's a coordinate, 25, 5,000, 25, 4,460. Remember, you defined this as T in months, so time in months, and this was the cost. So this is saying after 25 months, the Rambler will cost $5,000. So I'm just going to write that as 5K. And the Mustang will cost $4,460. Alright, so that's how you interpret that answer. Now, in the next question, it says, find when R of T is equal to M of T and explain what your answer represents. So I just noticed that this is just two functions set equal to each other. So I'm just going to mimic this and set the R of T, which is 150T plus 1,250 equal to 60T plus 2,960. Remember, that's what M of T is, and that's what R of T is. Now I solve this equation, because it's a pretty simple linear equation here, and I get T equals 19. So in other words, R of 19 and M of 19 are going to equal the same amount. Okay, so I'm going to find next M of 19 and R of 19, and those values are 4,100. Okay, so that means that after 19 months, she's spending the same amount of money on both cars. She's spending $4,100 on each car. So after 19 months, she spends the same exact amount. Now, for problem E, it says, how should she decide which car to buy, and explain your reasoning. Now, we know that the upfront cost of the Mustang is going to be more expensive, but in the long run, it might be best for her to buy this car, because if she plans on keeping it for more than 19 months, it's actually going to be cheaper than having the Rambler. So, in order for her to decide which car she should buy, first she should figure out if she's going to keep it longer than 19 months. So she should figure out if she will keep it longer than 19 months. So if she plans on selling this within, 19 months, it would be smarter for her to go with the Rambler. And if she plans on keeping it after 19 months, she should go with the Mustang. So before 19 months, the Rambler is the cheaper vehicle. But after 19 months, the Mustang is the better buy. In part F, you're going to plot the graph of R of t and M of t. So remember, R of t is your function, and you have specific points for this function. I believe this function is 150 plus the 150t plus the initial cost of $1,250, I think. Sorry, I'm doing this from memory because I don't want to keep pulling back up. And then M of t, the Mustang's cost was 60t plus $2,960. So when you're graphing this, I'm not going to graph this with you because I can't zoom in. I'd have to constantly zoom in and zoom out, and it's just too small for me to try to graph on here. But what you're going to do is plot your specific points. Remember, you have some values for R of t. You know that at 0 months, it costs her $1,250 right when she purchases the car. And you also know that after 19 months, it's at $4,100. And for the Mustang, you know that at 0 months, she spends $2,960. So that's the cost of the car right when she buys it. And after 19 months, we're at the same amount of money, the $4,100. So I'd like you guys to plot these two functions using an appropriate scale. Make sure that you come into class with this completed. Okay, that is actually the end of the lesson. Nice job.